Hiya. This fella walks into a record shop in Ireland and he sees this sign on the door and it says all CDs arranged in alphabetical order under name of band, e.g. The Beatles under T. I kid you not, I was that man. That was the town of Killarney in County Kerry in the west of Ireland about 15 years ago. And at first I thought, oh great, a record shop owner with a sense of humour, but no, it was absolutely true. So this record shop had about 4 aisles, and at least 1.5 of the aisles was the letter T. You know, the Animals, the Beach Boys, the Birds, the Beatles, etc, etc, etc. So yeah, how do you classify your album collection? Is it alphabetical? Is it chronological? Is it by genre? Is it by date of acquisition? What, you know, how do you is it by value or what? But yeah, just one of the many trials and tribulations of being a vinyl collector. But anyway, not to worry, I've got a proper letter T tonight, starting off with a cracker. This is T-Rex 1971 Electric Warrior, the greatest glam rock album ever, one of the greatest pop albums ever in my humble opinion, one of the first albums I ever bought from Bruce Moose in Hartlepool, where I bought my first records. Then a few years later my first motorbike, Honda CD 175. Then a bit later on again my first washing machine, whose make I can't remember, Hot Point or something, I guess, I don't know. But yeah, incredible shop. Yeah, white goods, motorbikes and records. What more could you want? But this one, absolutely brilliant, start to finish, all 11 tracks of pure great glam rock pop. This is Mark Bolan at his very, very magical best. The big singles are on there, of course, Get It On and Jeepster, but my favourite, and the one that's on my funeral list, and it's going to stay on my funeral list despite the fact that it's going to need some judicious editing, it's far too long at the moment, but is the second last track on the second side, and that's Life's a Gas. Brilliant track. So yeah, give it a go for old time's sake. That's T-Rex Electric Warrior 1971. Second album, Tencc from 1975. Tencc, 4 guys from Stockport, Eric Stewart, Kevin Godley, Lol Cream, Graham Goldman, all talented singers, songwriters, multi-instrumentalists. They've done production work and backing work for others. They've been in a variety of bands. I think Eric Stewart had been in Wayne Fontana and the Mindbenders, and they've been in a whole range of bands, but they came together in the early 70s and they had a series of really good albums through that time. And I picked this one because it's got 2 or 3 really good tracks. It's got Life's a Minestrone, which was a single. It's got Unnuit in Paris, which about 8.5 minutes long. It's quite witty, the opening track, although some people credit it with influence in Bohemian Rhapsody, but I don't want to blame them for that. But and 1 or 2 other good tracks as well, but it is obviously it's the track, I'm Not in Love, one of the great pop songs of the last half of the last century in my view. Simple song, beautifully sung, really lush backing music. It's just timeless. It still stands up, as does this album. It's a canny album. Original soundtrack, Tencc, 1975. The next one is 5 brothers. They're American but of Cape Verde Islands descent, and these are the Tavares Brothers. So the brothers were Chubby, Tiny, Pooch, Butch and Ralph Tavares. They got together in the late 50s, I think, so they've been together about 15 years by the time they produced this album. So very polished, beautiful harmonies, great soul, disco, infectious, simple, but yeah, pure disco soul, lovely, takes you right back to those times. And the two great singles off this album, Heaven Must Be Mission and Angel, absolutely joyous, beautiful tune. And of course, Don't Take Away the Music. Don't take away the music, it's the only thing I've got, it's my piece of rock. You know the one I mean. And if you put that on and you don't, well, I don't dance actually, but if you don't start moving and jiving in your seat at least and tapping your fingers, then yeah, you're probably dead, I would think. But anyway, that's a great disco album, Tavares, 1976, Sky High. If you wanted to get as far away from the Tavares as you possibly could, then you might pick this band. This is Throbbing Gristle, and this is 20 Jazz Funk Greats, which is a ironic or sarcastic title, as is the cover. These were actually called in Parliament what it said, evil and sadistic wreckers of civilization. I suppose one of the reasons I got interested in this was they generated so much coverage in the NME, in the sounds, the left field sort of music press in the 70s. Generated coverage probably goes far beyond their talent, but these guys were performance artists from Hull. None of them were musical at all, but they wanted to use every form they could to express their art, and not being musical or able to play anything wasn't going to stop them from having a go. And they created, or they were termed as sort of industrial music, if you like. It was heavily synthesized stuff. They had no they didn't tend to play real instruments, although Cozy Fanny Tootie, he did I think develop some skills with the guitar, led by a guy called Genesis P. Orridge, who spent the last 15 years of his life, him and his wife, trying to become just one person. So they were having cosmetic surgery to look identical, including all sorts of radical surgery, really. Painful to think about, but if you look up any pictures of their work, and then when his wife died, he continued to have surgery to attempt to look like her and talk like her and act like her. Yeah, they lived their life as a piece of art. Really, that was the way they looked at it. And this is their most accessible, their most friendly, their album. It's ambient, it's electronic. There's even sort of a disco sort of tune in there. What's the song? It's hang on, wait till I find it. Hot on the Heels of Love. Yeah, sounds like it could have been played at a disco at the time, but give it a try. Look them up. Interesting group. Did I already say? No, yeah, they took their name from they're all from Hull, and they took the name of the band from the local slang for an erect penis. So anyway, that's Throbbing Gristle, 20 Jazz and Funk Greats from 1979. In 1980, a year later, this is Talking Heads. This is the New York sort of post-punk band. And this is, I don't know, I think it's the sound of anxiety. David Byrne, the singer and main songwriter, he's got a nervous, screechy voice. He sings cryptic lyrics. It's slightly unnerving certainly on the lyrical side. But contrast that with the brilliant rhythms and the sort of African type rhythms and polyrhythms and multi-layered rhythms that are going on in the background, and it's absolutely, it just works. I don't know whether it eases your nerves at the lyrics but it creates something really, really different. and I suppose that's epitomised partly on the single from this album, Once in a Lifetime, which I think it took a time to take off, but it did become a really successful single. So yeah, this is Anxiety You Can Dance To, or tap your fingers to. Talking Heads, Remaining Light from 1980. And then lastly, under the letter T, Teenage Fanclub, one of my favourite bands from the 90s and early 2000s. I have this theory of pop and rock evolution, which is probably total bollocks, but that nearly all the bands, pop rock bands from the late 70s, 80s, 90s and onwards can be traced back to one of three, either the Beach Boys, the Beatles or the Velvet Underground. And I suppose if we look at the album, the pop rock albums that we've looked at tonight, T-Rex, well, it's probably the Beatles, maybe with a touch of Velvet Underground, 20% Velvet Underground, 8% Beatles, Tencc, the Beatles, Talking Heads, the Velvet Underground, but these Teenage Fanclub, yeah, their roots are in the Beach Boys, or they stand on the shoulders of the Beach Boys. Also with a bit of Birds maybe and a bit of Big Star in there, but this is West Coast, summery, jangly, and these guys are from the wettest, or one of the wettest cities in Britain, Glasgow, but they've just got this summery, sunny, jangly guitars. Yeah, absolutely beautiful stuff. And this is 12 songs, absolutely no fillers, all great songs. Kurt Cobain actually said he thought these were the best band in the world, which I don't know, that's probably going over the top a little bit, but yeah, my favourite tracks on here, perhaps track 2, Ain't That Enough, or Planets, both of them brilliant, but as I say, they're all 12 great songs. I did see these once, but unfortunately they were supporting Radiohead. Radiohead were brilliant, but the fact that it was Radiohead meant it was in a big arena, the Manchester Arena, and I'm afraid that the fannies, as they're known, were a bit too subtle and got a bit lost in the vast emptiness of that arena, which is a shame. So I'd love to see them in a smaller venue. But that's Teenage Fanclub, Songs from Northern Britain, 1997. Okay, well I'm hoping to fit another one or two in the next couple of days actually, because even monkeys get holidays and I'll be away for a little bit and not posting, and I've got to get through this alphabet, and so I hope you might join me next week. It is U, the letter U that is. Cheers.